Today we're having stew, specifically Grandma's pea soup stew, cooked really delicious with pork belly. Welcome to Carla's Cooking. Action and action. Isn't that tasty? Well, Carmen, isn't that a nice belly? Which one do you mean? Well, I actually meant this one here. Pork belly without bones. This will be the main star for our pea soup stew. Of course, we need potatoes for that. This is a small bag of split peas. They have the big advantage that you don't need to soak them. You can start cooking right away. I want to add a bit of smoky flavor to our stew, so we're going to add some sausages. You can't do that without it. We've got spices ready here, specifically 1.5 tablespoons of peppercorns, 1/2 tablespoon of allspice and juniper, and we have bay leaves and cloves. For that, we need 2 onions and a bunch of vegetables. That's basically it. If you want to start cooking your pork belly at home, I mean the one you bought, put that pork belly into the water. Then you add your onions and your spices and cook the pork belly until it's done. Why am I saying this and why am I not doing that? For a simple reason. We cooked some shanks. The video is being displayed here. And when you cook shanks and then have them crispy in the oven, what do you have left over? The best broth for a pea soup? Look here. And there it is. Look, it even developed jelly here. There's pure power in there. Too good to throw away. And with that, we're going to cook our stew now. For our pea stew, I'm going to saute the bacon a bit because I want that smoky flavor in my stew. It doesn't have to get super crispy because it's going to go in here later. But it's important to render out some of the fat. And my broth here has already been warmed up a little bit. There was a studded onion in there and my spices. And now I'm just going to put the pork belly in there and cook it until it's done. And since my split peas also take about 1.5 hours, I'm adding them in now. So, and I like to say it again. At this point, if this were water, I would add my spices. But I already have that in there. That's why my onion and my vegetables will be added later. Come back later when the peas are done. And the bacon is already a bit browned here. It's given off some flavor. The fat has melted. That can go in too. That's going to be a nice little soup. So we're bringing that to a boil. And we'll see each other again in 1.5 hours. So we have enough time to dice our vegetables from the vegetable bundle. I already mentioned it earlier. I want to add it as late as possible. It should be cooked through, but please don't overcook it because in a pea stew, it's just nice when you can still recognize the vegetables. So the onion is already chopped. The vegetables are ready. And now we want to cut the potatoes into large cubes. And when I have this nice knife, this always happens. Here, they get stuck. That's swept. You know how it is at home. When you want to cut potatoes really firmly, they tend to stick to the smooth blade because of the starch. But of course, Heizo has the solution for that. It's the Santoku knife with these beautiful grooves. Look, and nothing sticks there, right? You can cut a whole bunch of potatoes into cubes without anything sticking here. So the right knife for every task. 1.5 hours has passed. Aha, it already looks much more like pea soup. Our pork belly should be cooked through now. If you have a pork belly with bones in the pot, you should be able to easily twist them out at this point. So if the bones come off on their own, it's good. It's super tender. I'll prove that again here. Bam. We'll let it cool down a bit so we can cube it perfectly. And our soup is now urgently waiting for more ingredients. Our split peas are already nicely cooked, as you can see here. And now we're adding our vegetables and also our potatoes. And if this isn't a nice, colorful stew, then I don't know what is. That looks really good. We're letting the vegetables and potatoes cook, and in the meantime, cutting the pork belly. So the little sausages here can start warming up. Let's take a look at the pork belly. Look at that. Super juicy. And we're cutting it now so that we can enjoy the stew later without a knife and fork. The big moment. So now seriously, this really looks like pea soup stew. And what I told you, our carrots are not overcooked yet. The celery is admittedly relatively hard to see, but sometimes it stands out. The potatoes aren't overcooked, but that's how a stew should be. Now we add our meat. Let the whole thing warm up briefly. And then I would call my guests to the table. And those who have been working in the garden in the cool temperatures will really be looking forward to the stew now. My grandma always said, as long as we have water, we still have soup and a little sausage on the side. What do you try first? The sausages or the soup? For me, it's always the sausages. Grandma's Stew Kitchen. There's nothing better. If you like it, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Carmen is calling you. We love you, and I'm going to keep eating sausage now.